Welcome to the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast, where we dive into the high-octane world of market-leading shop owners, shop employees, and automotive enthusiasts from the aftermarket, restoration, performance, and racing industries. So strap in as we take you on an awesome journey with our guests as they share their real-life stories, lessons learned, business advice, and unfiltered insights to help you beat the school of hard knocks. Gearheads and Gasoline, fueling your success.
This is our first episode of the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast, and we want to start off every one of these and asking our guests what their favorite drink is. Well, this is the first one where we're going to do a little intro of Annette and myself and why we're doing this and our passions. And Annette, what's your favorite drink? Mine's currently an old fashioned.
Great question, Barry. Well, I don't drink alcohol at the moment, so I'm on a strict eating diet. So no coffee, no alcohol. So water, yeah, is the token right now.
You're stronger than I am, for sure. So anyways, again, I'm Barry with Motorhead Digital. I've been dreaming about this podcast for 2 years. I'm a big car aficionado, a big fan. We do a lot of digital marketing for shops and things like that. And we work with shops every day. And Annette and I met at SEMA. And Annette, talk about what you do for a living and your passions.
Great. Well, gosh, so I have been involved in the automotive industry since I was a small child. My father actually introduced me to it, and that didn't change as I grew up. It actually just got worse, so the sickness just grew. It eventually led me to crewing for a couple of friends of mine when they were drag racing motorcycles, as well as then jumping on a motorcycle myself and drag racing. And so that's actually how I started my racing career, was on a motorcycle, just a regular old one that you could buy for the street. Took it to the track, and man, was I hooked. And that eventually grew into being in multiple different opportunities. I drove for several people, which was really nice, fun, great experience. And part of how I got involved in the photography side of what I do is because every time I was racing, I would sit and think, and the vain side of me would say, man, this would be a super cool picture. I would really love something like this to memorialize this moment, right? To be able to remember this. But there was never anybody there to do that. And so I made a decision to take my experience in marketing, which at the time I had already been in marketing for, 4 or 5 years, and meld that with my passion of racing. So then I picked up a camera, melded those together, and that's how I started my photography business. And so it's been a whirlwind of excitement and just experience. Like, it's super cool.
That's awesome. You never look back. I heard you got some awesome new equipment over the Christmas holiday and things like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I didn't talk a lot about myself, but I went to school for auto services, tech, auto body, just never got into it, and worked with on marketing and website development design for years with all sorts of business. And then in 2017, we created Motorhead Digital because we wanted to work with restoration and performance shops, things like that. Then we started speaking at SEMA. And so I have a story about how Annette and I got into this podcast. I've been thinking about this for like 2 years and trying to figure out how I wanted to do it. We do want to talk about the guests that we're going to have on, what the target market is, who we're going to be having on, and why we're doing this. So we were at SEMA speaking, and I was talking about social media or something, I can't remember. And this gal over on the side piped up, didn't raise her hand or anything, just said, "Hey, here's some great add-on information." She really enhanced what we were talking about. And while Dean, my co-speaker that is at the shows with us and speaks with us, was talking, I grabbed our other guy and said, you got to get her name and number. So Annette and I connected. We connected at PRI. We talked a lot about different things. And then last year it was like, Annette would be an awesome co-host. So with that said, we want to talk a little bit about our upcoming guests. Okay. Annette will be bringing guests in from the drag racing community, manufacturers and drivers and team owners, things like that. I will be bringing guests in from the auto restoration performance side of the world, from builders to shop owners to manufacturers of parts and things like that. The big thing is that we want to focus on telling their stories from why'd they get started. What were some of the failures they had? How did they overcome those failures? And also, how did they know that when they were successful, if they even have defined that yet or determined that they've been successful? And what did they do to market their business? How'd they get their name out there? And that you can probably add on to that as far as your thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many amazing stories behind the racing community, the automotive industry as a whole. And those stories start with a passion, right? They start with a why. Why do I want to be involved? Why do I want to do this? How do I do it? Who do I talk to? I mean, there's just so many ways that people can get involved into the automotive industry, male or female. And it can literally start with just a simple love and passion for the vehicle that you own. It can be your daily driver. It doesn't matter. But we really want to be able to help either new businesses coming into the industry, businesses that have been in the industry, teams, drivers, crew members, even some of the media, that help them understand like how they can contribute and how they can improve their marketing and how they can change the way that they're doing things to see better growth, to have more engagement, and to overall feel like they're just impacting their industry more positively.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was on an actual webinar yesterday that brought in, it was influencers versus brand advocates, and we want to talk to those people as well, but we also want to talk to what shops and race teams are doing to support the brands, the products that they use every day. And it was very interesting. There's a big difference between influencers and brand advocates, right? And, and that's has a Fuel Tech shirt on. I'm wearing my AMD stuff today. So we're both brand advocates for different brands and things like that. So we want to hear what other businesses are doing with that and how they're supporting it. But again, like Annette said, there's a lot of young people coming into the industry because they have a passion. And they know we've met so many people that got into it, but they know how to do that one thing. They may not know how to market their business, how to run their business, that they need an accountant, things like that. So we want to talk to people that have been through all that.
File taxes.
Yeah, they need to file taxes, exactly. And we want to talk to owners that have been through that and have recommendations on what to do. One thing that Annette and I didn't talk about is I'm on the ARMO Select Committee, and that's gotten heavily involved with SBN. And one thing that I've noticed over the 2 years I've been in ARMO is there's a lot of businesses in the space that they're involved in SEMA, but they don't know about the councils, or they're not even involved in SEMA. And there's a lot of support in SEMA and with all the councils, ARMO, HRI, SBN, things like that. So we're hoping to convey some of that information out to our listeners as well to get involved, and you'll get a lot more out of it.
Yeah, I'm doing everything that I possibly can to get more women involved in the automotive industry. I had an incredible time meeting so many different women at a recent women's leadership forum. And it was an opportunity to talk with women from every genre, right? From women who just help in the office to the engineers who actually get out and do stuff with whatever it might be, like whether they're building motors or they're consulting or they're just, helping people that are in the shop overall. Like if you're a female and you want to get involved in an automotive anything, I don't care what it is, do it. And don't let nobody tell you no.
Yeah, for sure. Dean and I were just recently at a local tech school, and we talked to those students about, hey, they were as a body shop. And a lot of them are doing that in high school, but may not go on to be in the body shop business, but they may actually, because they think it's all just the body shop work, but there's so much more behind the scenes of working in the office, doing marketing, things like that. So we want to get that information out there too, because there's so many great opportunities that are out there that people just don't know about. One thing that I hear from every shop owner that I work with is looking for help.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking for good people, fabricators, back office people, painters, things like that. And a lot of younger people don't know those jobs exist.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that, the younger generation think of trades as construction, right? They think of it as electrical. They think of it as, like those core trades that we see a lot of times. But what they really don't stop and think about is, like somebody had to fabricate the vehicle, other than if you're talking about a major manufacturer, right? Somebody actually had to build it. Somebody actually had to sit down and visualize what they wanted to bring to life. And there is so much opportunity for people to get involved in that. If that's what their passion is, if that's what you keep coming back to, go, man, go. Don't stop.
Oh, absolutely. And I was just talking to somebody the other day, actually, Eddie from AMD. I was talking to him on Saturday about all the cool stuff going on in the automotive space, whether it's racing or builds with, the R&D and the printers, the CAD, all the stuff that a lot of shops are doing in-house. You need technical savvy people to do those designs for 3D printing and to build quality chassis and parts for shops. A lot of shops are actually developing their own parts and selling them online too, which is really cool. So there's a lot of opportunity out there, even for people that go into college for computers and things like that.
Oh, yeah. There was a client of mine who actually said that there was a part that they wanted to use or that they need, but the manufacturer of the part that they need was like, well, I'll sell you a whole unit, right? They wouldn't sell a specific part that they needed. And the guy was like, look, I just need this part. I don't need to buy the whole unit. And he was like, well, that's where you're sitting at, right? You either spend X amount of dollars for the whole unit or I'm not selling it to you. So he ended up buying the whole unit. Didn't hear this from me. And reverse engineering what he needed.
And that happens a lot, even with older parts where there isn't a part to buy. You have to 3D, you have to scan it, 3D scan it. And work through it and print it. And what was interesting to me, since I've been working in this industry, is they're 3D printing metal parts, which is totally blew me away. I didn't even think that was a thing, But yeah, there's also other issues where if you want this one part, you have to buy a gross of them.
Right.
I only need one.
Right.
So a lot of you see Level 7 Motorsports, they build a lot of their own parts and now they're selling them on their websites. Ring Brothers are doing the same thing.
Right.
Kindig from Bitch and Rides. Dave Kindig designs a lot of stuff and they're selling parts. So they're creating a whole separate business within their business of parts manufacturing of parts that don't exist anywhere else.
Yeah. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that the Ring Brothers are actually the ones who bought Larry Larson's old car.
I don't know.
I think so. I was looking something up. Yeah, I think that I'm not 100% on that. I'll double check on it. But I think that they bought Larry Larson's old car. So Street Outlaw is Larry Larson. Okay. And they put a diesel motor inside of it. So it is super cool.
Oh, really? Is that gonna? Do you think is that something they're building right now that we might see at SEMA this year?
No, it's already out. They
It's
raced
already
it.
out?
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Yeah, I
it's
haven't.
pretty badass. It's pretty
Cool. That's
badass.
why
But
we're
I'm a
in this
huge diesel
industry, right?
fan anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff going on diesel side too. I actually, Motorhead Digital, we just joined Toro this year. So we're a member of Toro. So we're getting into that side and meeting people on the truck side, right? And a lot of diesels on the truck side. So we're going to talk a little bit about more what we bring to the community as businesses in this industry. Annette, tell us about, we know you got into photography. We know you're a photographer, social media, but tell us more about that and how you support the community and things like that.
Great. Thanks, Barry. So one of the things that I am super passionate about is telling stories, right? So I tell visual stories through my photography. I tell visual stories through reel development, and helping teams and drivers and brands more specifically to build their base of a content library. Every business, brand, company, however, whatever term you want to use, has to have a content library in order to build either social media graphics or content, as well as building their websites, building any of their marketing collateral, when they do pitches or decks. Like all of those things require some type of visual storytelling. So that's what my profession is. That's what I do. I work with my clients to ensure that we are aligning their brand with who their audience is, what they need, and how they can best serve their audience, their clients, their customers, right? So I work with them to make sure that we get that all settled and taken care of and build a great content library for them to be able to pull from. Sometimes, depending on what that strategy is, it can be content that is a month long, it can be content that's 3 months long. It just depends on what they need. So on top of photography services, I also provide social media and management or graphic design, whatever they really need to help their businesses or brands grow.
Awesome. And it's interesting how we cross over there. So Motorhead Digital, we're focused on the organic side of the marketing space. Okay. We focus on building awesome websites. We do social media for clients. We do email marketing, on-site SEO, content development. Some of the crossover there. One thing that I've always struggled with when shops come to us and businesses to build a website, they don't usually have good photography. So I pick up the phone and call people like Annette and say, we need to hire a photographer to do a photo shoot to get really high quality photos, because if you don't have those photos for your website, your social media, your print, it just looks bad. So that's one thing that we push our clients to do, to recognize that quality content is the key right there. We also work on pushing that content out, whether it's email marketing, social media, or putting the content on a website so they show up better in search. That's our expertise there. And we're working with a number of shops to help them get noticed online. And we've been building a lot of websites in the last couple of years.
That's awesome. I love it.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Motorhead Digital and Annette Bauer Creative. At Motorhead Digital, we are digital marketing experts for your automotive aftermarket, restoration, performance, race, and restyling shop. We help you supercharge your shop's website, social media, and entire online presence to attract those badass customers you're looking for. At Annette Bauer Creative, we understand the power of visual storytelling in transforming brands and driving growth, from capturing the essence of your products and services to showcasing the unique solutions they offer. Our professional imagery and reels help bring your brand to life.
Wrap up this episode number 1 of the podcast. Hopefully everybody learned a little bit about Annette and I and why we're doing this, but we want to talk about our upcoming guests. Annette's guest is...
Our next guest is Mark Beatty from Redline Oil. He is the brand director, and man, let me tell you, he is one of the best guys in this industry. I had the privilege of meeting Mark a couple of years ago, actually at PRI, and we had been talking actually via social media, and ended up meeting at PRI and just established a relationship at that point. He is literally one of the greatest guys that I've ever met. Incredibly passionate about the sport of racing in automotive in general. He's a gearhead through and through, and he helps every single facet in the automotive industry. If it has a motor and it requires lubricants, that man's company is involved in helping those teams perform at their absolute best. So I'm super excited to talk with Mark and hear how he is seeing how the industry is going, as well as the incredible teams that he has worked with over the years.
Awesome. I'm excited too. I was connected with Mark on LinkedIn, but that was about it. I've never met him in person. My guest for episode 3 is Jason Chandler from Automotive Direct. He's our good friend he's in charge of marketing there. I met Jason last year at Richard Petty's shop. We did an event there for, it was called Auto Fest for Talent with Operative Talent, which is an organization we'll be talking about more throughout the episodes. But Jason's going to come on and talk about that, how we got into the industry, how Automotive Direct builds some awesome sheet metal and other parts for restoration and builds, and also how they work with a lot of different businesses that are brand ambassadors for AMD, including our business. We're working on a drag and drive car that Automotive Direct is supporting. So we're looking forward to that episode as well.
It'll be good. I think we've got some really great people that are forthcoming, and we want to actually throw out a cookie to anybody who is listening who feels like they want to contribute to the industry and share about either how their business has succeeded or some of the areas that you feel you could have improved better. Kind of going back to that, if you were 20 years younger, what would you have done then with the knowledge you have now? So if you're out there and you're listening and you want to be part of this, give us a little jingle.
Yeah, and we do have social media channels. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us. Like our stuff, and actually reach out to us through Messenger. We have a website coming soon where there will actually be a form where you can apply to be on the show. We're looking forward to really having some awesome guests that will be able to convey great information to the industry and help other shops or upcoming shops and racers and teams and manufacturers, all of the above. And then also enthusiasts. We're hoping some enthusiasts get more interested in the industry as a whole. A lot of enthusiasts go to these car shows and look at cars and really want to buy them. They own them, but they don't know a lot about how they got put together and all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into them. So we're looking forward to this for sure.
We know you don't want to miss an episode, so don't forget to smash that bell so that you get notified of every new episode. Click that like button, leave us a comment, and share with your people. And visit us repeatedly. We love it.